Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to
Oh, you didn't know?
with Tony Reavis.
What up, everybody? If you don't know, I am Tony Reavis, and welcome back to Oh, You Didn't Know with me, Tony Reavis. We're back, baby. Episode 15. How you guys doing? Hope you guys had an awesome week. Hope 2018 is going strong for you guys. All right. Hope you're kicking booty. Hope you're grinding, doing what you want to do, and you're having a good time doing it. That's what's most important. Do what you want to do. That should be your 2018 slogan. All right. If you're happy, everything else is all good, baby. It's all good. We're back. I'm so excited, as you can tell. I got an awesome episode this week, guys. It's a great episode. It's going to be very informative. All right. I'm going to have someone on who's awesome, and we're going to talk finance this week. Okay. We're not just going to get, it's not just all numbers and charts and graphs. It's going to be fun talk. But I have my cousin Ryan Ainsworth on. Shout out to you, Ryan. Thanks for coming on the podcast this week. He's a financial advisor. He works with people from all walks of life, not just millionaires, but just regular people like us. Unless you're a millionaire, then, I could use some... I have some investment opportunities for it. No, I'm just kidding. But he's going to be on, and we're going to talk about, just life and finances and how to structure your life and your financial balances, and just make sure that whatever you find most important in life is taken care of. He works with all kinds of people. He's going to have some tips for us, maybe. Because I know a lot of people who are doing awesome stuff. I'm planning 2018 to be a big year. You know what I'm saying? 2018 is going to be a big year for me. So I'm already kind of prepping where when I'm getting these multi-million-dollar deals that are coming, I want to know how to handle that situation. No, I'm just playing. But hey, who knows? Speak into existence, right? You know what I mean? No, but I have a lot of friends who are booking awesome stuff, national tours, Broadway, TV shows, commercials, and it's so good to see people succeed. I just, whenever I do see someone succeed, I'm like, all right, hope that you handle your business correctly, So Ryan's going to be on. We're going to talk about a few things, maybe how to handle your business correctly. He's got a lot of good stuff to say. He's very smart. He knows the financial world, and I think it's going to help out a lot of people. But before that, we're just hanging out. All right? I'm trying to get the structure back. I'm hanging out. I got some things to talk about today. Life's been crazy, but so good. So good. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying 2018. Jeff and Tony Play on Jeff Dye's YouTube channel, comedian Jeff Dye. That's still going strong. I got new videos coming out on my YouTube channel. If you're watching it right now, hit that subscribe button. YouTube.com/iamTonyReavis. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. I got funny gaming videos coming out. They're better than ever. I'm having a blast working on them again. End of last year, I got so busy and it kind of fell off. But I've been working on these new videos, and I've just been having a blast editing and shooting them again. And I can't wait. Some of them are out now. And you're definitely, if you like gaming and you like funny videos, you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, y'all. Or if you're listening on iTunes or SoundCloud, you can subscribe there. Leave a, rate and review on iTunes. It always helps your boy out. And I appreciate you for listening. But we got some things to talk about. Like I said, first thing is, there's this new app that's kind of blowing up, I guess. And my roommate, Karina, told me about it. And she's like, oh, there's this great new app. You can get this stuff. And I think my cousin, Chris, told me about it like a year ago. And I never, did anything about it. But it's this app called Wish. And I'm sure you've all heard about it. It's called Wish. And it's like a shopping app. But everything is dirt cheap. Okay, my roommate was raving about it. She's like, oh, I got these shoes, I got this backpack, I got this awesome stuff, and it's so cheap. Check it out. So I did. Okay, I downloaded the app, and everything's super cheap, like unbelievably cheap, like $1 or $2. I'm like, why? That's weird. Well, everything comes from China. Okay, so that's going to explain that, right? Now, when everything comes from China and it's so cheap, you can expect what kind of quality ingredients you're getting here, right? The first thing I got on the app, it offered me a free gift. I didn't even have to pay. And I got to pick something. I was like, you know what? Cool, I'll pick this. I picked this watch. I'm gonna grab this watch. 1 second. I got this free watch, right? Looks fine. It's cool enough. Just black watch, big face. I like it. I'm a big watch guy. I don't have too many of them, but I do like watches. And I get this watch. I open it up and it looks like your standard watch. It's got, normal things on it. It's got the timers in the middle of it, like some watches have, where you can, have a timer. Problem is, they are not real. They're drawn on the face of the watch, these timers. So I was like, wait, that's weird. They have buttons on the side, so you think they would work. Well, they're not real buttons, okay? They're just like nubs that are fake buttons that they put on there to make it look like a real watch. The watch actually works. It's actually a real watch, but the buttons don't work. They're not real buttons on the side, and the timers on the face of the watch completely drawn on. So that should have told me right there what I was getting myself into with this app. This is actually made in Japan, apparently. I don't know if I believe that or not. But I'm expecting this watch battery to die in about 30 minutes, probably. I've had it for a few weeks, and it's actually been surviving. But, that was my first clue that maybe this is not on the up and up. So I actually ordered something, okay? I'm trying to enhance my wardrobe. I want to look better. I want to stylize more in 2018. So I bought this cool jacket. Well, it looked cool on the app. And apparently it's like a sweater jacket, but I thought it was like a jacket. And it gets to me a few weeks later. Everything takes 4 weeks to ship because it's from China. And I get it. I open the thing up. And when I tell you that this jacket was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, I'm not exaggerating. And I'm not talking about, it looked just like the picture, kind of, I guess. But what you don't know is that this material that this jacket is made of, the best way I can describe it is when you buy a cheap Halloween costume, that's what it was. If you buy one of those fake muscle shirts for Halloween, it was made out of that. And not only that, it was tiny. I got the biggest size. Hey, I'm a thick boy, all right? I'm a big, big boy. I bought the biggest size that they had to offer, and it was still too small. And it was 3 sizes bigger than I normally buy my clothes. Still too small. Unbelievable. I kept this thing just because it's hilarious. And I couldn't believe it. And luckily I only spent $1.50 on it, or I'd really be mad. But I had to yell at my roommate. I was like, why are you ranting or raving about this app? It's nonsense. Because she got a backpack, and apparently she still uses it, and it's great. But I swung and missed. So I do not endorse the Wish app. I do not endorse it. Not at all. If you want to go for it, or if you've had successes, let me know. Because big swing and a miss from me. So I definitely won't be doing that again. What else has been going on? I got a lot of stuff to talk about social media today. I usually don't get into social media, but there's a few things. I noticed something on Facebook, because when I'm bored, I don't know why I keep Facebook. I don't do anything on it. I post my videos on there, and then when I'm in bed and I'm bored, when I'm trying to fall asleep or when I first wake up, I just scroll through and watch puppy videos like I've talked about before. But I stumbled upon something that I was like, wow, this is weird. And it was a Facebook Live. So someone was actually live, and they had 1,000 people watching. Probably people like me, because I ended up watching for a half hour just to try to figure out why this was a thing. But this person had 1,000 people watching, and they were shucking oysters. They were getting pearls. And you buy the oysters from this person, and they make jewelry for you. Right? And they do it all live. So it's you buy it and they shuck it live, and you find out, oh, you got a white pearl or it's a purple pearl, because they're all different. And I was like, wow, I can't believe this is a thing. And there's actually 1,000 people watching. I would love to have 1,000 people watch me when I live stream when I'm playing video games and stuff. You can catch me on a live stream, and I have like 5 people watching if I'm lucky. And me and Jeff are starting to live stream, and that has a few more people just because of him. But I would love to have 1,000 people watching. And all this person's doing is shucking an oyster, and they're making money, and they're doing it live for 1,000 people. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. But then I was like, I can't keep watching this. So I kept just scrolling. And there was 1 million of them. She wasn't the only person doing it. I ran into 4 other people doing the exact same thing who all had huge amounts of viewers watching. I had no idea there was this thing going on. This phenomenon of oyster shucking on Facebook Live. Did you guys know about this? How do I get into the oyster shuck game? I want to start as an oyster shucker and then grab the audience and then transition it to what I'm doing here. That sounds like a good plan. I couldn't believe it. But joke's on me because I sat and watched for like a half hour. Well, to be honest, the girl was kind of cute and I was like kind of just watching her. But I was also mesmerized about what even was happening. You know what I mean? It was crazy. It was so crazy. That's why I can't do social media. I can't do it. Like the trends of social media is insane. The things that become popular is ridiculous. Like how do you make something go viral? The dumbest things go viral. Damn, Daniel, it's so dumb. And everyone knows what that is. I just said it for half a second and you already know. You already know what I'm talking about. It makes me sick. Social media, I can't, man. And it's so important to what I do, which sucks, Like if I didn't have to be on social media, I wouldn't. And I like it because I get to talk to my family a lot. People are back home. They get to see what I'm up to and I get to chat with them. That's awesome. I love it for that. And I think that's what it was originally created for. But now we all get our news from social media, which is good and bad. Because I get a lot of news from Twitter too. But people have a hard time plucking out what's real and what's fake. So many times people repost something and I'm like, did you check the source? It's clearly not real. So it can be dangerous there. It can be real dangerous. And also, like social media, people, you need to, okay, maybe I shouldn't be talking about this because I'm probably not the best one because on my Instagram, pretty much all I post, I'm trying to get better about this, but pretty much all I post is, like a trailer or like a little clip of whatever episode I posted on YouTube that day. Because I post daily on Jeff Dye's page. And now I'm posting more often on mine. So that's usually what my Instagram is for. Just kind of like a clip and then it's like, here's the link and you go follow it, right? But people need to use their Instagrams better. Okay? It rained here in Los Angeles the other day. And my God, I watched 10 people's stories in a row and I saw the exact same thing 10 times in a row. Everyone just posted a video of a stupid double rainbow. Like, come on. And maybe this is just the Seattleite in me talking. Like, it's not a big deal. Rain, we get it all the time. Not here, I guess, because we don't. But it's not that big a deal if it rains. To have 10 people's story in a row, and there probably was more. I got to I was watching one, I was like, double rainbow, okay, next. Oh, double rainbow, okay, next. Double rainbow, double rainbow, double. I just kept going faster through it, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. All it is double rainbows. And you know what? There was probably 15 more behind it that would have been double rainbows. But I had to stop myself. I had enough double rainbow. Let's use Instagram better, guys. Let's use it better. I like inspirational stuff. There's a lot of awesome inspirational people you can follow. I love following The Rock he's so inspirational on Instagram. That's great. Double rainbows? No. Let's move on. Let's think. Is this actually something that's important? If not, don't post it. Right? We all know there's a double rainbow. You don't need to post a picture of it. Or it's like, oh, look at the UFO. But it was like SpaceX, the SpaceX launch. People are like, oh, UFO. I saw that a million times as well. I get it. You don't got to add it to your story, okay? Jeez. Social media, I don't know why social media gets me so worked up. Oh, but here's the worst thing that I see on social media. When I see people, and this is, okay, I don't want to be that guy. Because it's mostly girls, but there's guys who do it too. But it's mostly girls, and don't, crucify me for saying this. But girls and their Twitter bios or Instagram bios or whatever, and they'll put like their, their little description of themselves, which is great. And they'll put like nerd, like I'm a nerd. But like, why? Why are you a nerd? Do you wear glasses at night when you take your contacts out and now you're a nerd? And I get angry about it because I am a nerd. I have a video game channel. I play video games all the time. All right? I'm a nerd. And what makes you a nerd? What's your favorite anime? What's anime? Not a nerd. What's your favorite issue of The Ultimate Spider-Man? You don't know what that is? Not a nerd. Do you like Todd McFarlane? Who's that? You're not a nerd. I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh. Because we can be nerds for anything. Because I'm like one of those like unique hybrids. Like I'm a nerd and I love video games. And I have a YouTube about it and I do all this stuff. But I'm also huge into sports. And that kind of makes me a nerd. You know what I mean? Like I know the stats from 1995 American League Division Series. Mariners over the Yankees. Like I know that. So I'm a nerd there too. So I guess we all have our own. But it's just like, don't just say you're a nerd because it's like makes you unique. You know what I mean? Because you're not unique when you say that. Everyone says that. Or if you're fluent in sarcasm. Oh, how clever. Everyone says that. Got to put it together. Get it together, guys. And dudes do it too. Don't get me wrong. Dudes do it too. We try to be something we're not. Let's just be ourselves, okay? Just be ourselves. Because here's the thing. There's a lot of girls out there who are listening maybe right now and like, no, I am nerdy. I do love Cowboy Bebop. Great. I'm trying to defend you. Because there's these other people who are just like, oh, I look cute in my glasses. I'm going to put nerd here. But you're the real MVPs. Because I could call you up and be like, hey, you want to watch Dragon Ball Z? And you're with it. Boom. You're the real MVP. You're the one that should have nerd in your Twitter bio. I'm trying to defend you. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just went off the rails there. And people are going to come at me with hate. Don't come at me with hate, okay? This is pretty satirical. If you can't realize that, you have the problem, not me. I'm just saying. I'm a real nerd, and I defend nerds. So if you are a nerd, then more power to you. But if not, don't just put nerd in your bio because you think it's cool. Because we spent so much of our lives being told what we like is not cool. And we didn't go through that just for you to come around and put nerd in your bio to be cute. We were in the trenches, reading comic books at lunch, watching anime all night, spending weekends playing video games. We were the ones fighting for nerd to be cool. And nerd is cool. I love nerds. I'm proud to be a nerd. You know what I mean? There's a thing going on this week. It's called Awesome Games Done Quick, and they do it twice a year. There's Awesome Games Done Quick, and then there's Summer Games Done Quick. And it's this week-long marathon, 24 hours a day for a week of people who speed run video games, which means they know all the bugs in the game. They know all the like quick things to do, and they beat games really quick. Like they'll beat a game, like a big long game. They'll like find a way to beat it in an hour. Or there'll be like a game, they'll beat it in 5 minutes. Like it's crazy. It's an awesome thing. It's an awesome speedrunning thing. It's on Twitch, twitch.tv. And it's this awesome marathon they do twice a year. And it's all for cancer research. And there's donations all week long. They raise like $1 million every time they do it. And it's on right now. And I've just been watching it nonstop. And they do interviews with the speedrunners and stuff like that when they're done with their run. And they're interviewing these people. And like, you can tell they're not used to being interviewed. And I'm just like, man, bless you nerds. Those dudes are awesome. And those girls are awesome. There's girl runners too. They're awesome. I could never do anything like that. They get so good at a video game that they get to just do the speed run. But it's awesome that they do it for a good cause. But I'm just watching it all week. I'm just like, see, these are the real heroes, the real nerds. So if you're guilty of that, that's okay. Of putting nerd in your bio when you're not a nerd. When you can't tell me the real origin of Peter Parker. That's fine. All right? If I ask you about Mos Eisley and you don't know what that is, that's okay. You're still okay in my book. But you better have something else that you're nerdy about if you're putting nerd in that bio. Because us nerds are a proud people. And there's going to be even people who say I'm not a nerd. Because that's how proud they are. And that's fine, whatever. Judge me. I don't care. I'm a nerd in my book. As long as you're a nerd in your book, you can keep it in your bio. That's all I'm saying. I've talked about this way too long. Far, far too long. Jeez. I'm losing it, guys. I'm going off the rails. I don't know what this podcast has become. I didn't mean to. I just got on a soapbox there. Hopefully you got something out of that. Hopefully you were either listening and you were like, hey, yeah, I am a nerd and I should be proud about it. That was the goal. I didn't mean to, burn anybody at the stake. So don't be mad at me. Just, see the good in what I was trying to do. If you're a nerd, stand up. Put your fist up high. I'm with you. Be nerd. Be nerdy and be proud. I'm going to move on because that was just insanity. I have no idea what just happened. But I have an awesome guest coming up, my cousin Ryan. He's an awesome dude, and we're going to talk about some awesome stuff, finances. So if, you're bad at spending like I am, and you're interested in, ways to kind of handle money better, and just, we're just going to talk to him. He's going to tell us about what he does and what he's moving into. He's trying to move into the social media spectrum, because here's the biggest thing is there's a lot of people who like, oh, I need help with money. I don't know how to do this stuff. And they go to the internet and you might not get the best advice. Well, he's trying to do something where, you can get good advice. So you'll be able to reach out to him in different ways, which we'll get into the interview. You'll find out how, if, hey, this guy makes a lot of sense, I could use some help. There'll be a way that we can connect you. So definitely stay tuned. I got an awesome interview. Financial advisor Ryan Ainsworth coming right up. Psst. Hey. Yeah, you. Let me ask you something. You like to laugh? Yeah? Of course you do. So why not subscribe to my YouTube channel for awesome videos where I play video games? I scream, I yell, it's a riot. So check it out over on youtube.com/iamTonyReavis and laugh at my video game pain. It's also a great place to catch this weekly podcast. So don't miss any of the action. Head on over and subscribe today. Okay, bye. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I got another awesome guest with me this week. It's my cousin, Mr. Ryan Ainsworth. How you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're here to talk to you a little bit about some finance stuff. Not only finance. It's not just going to be numbers and graphs and charts. We're going to just hang out and talk. But he's going to have some good advice for us. Because tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, of course. Well, first off, I guess, thank you for letting me join on here.
Of course.
I think I told you a while ago, my wife and I tune into your podcast.
Yeah.
It's the only podcast, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on here, but, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and just recently I was listening to one, and she said, hey, what's up with your cousin's podcast? Why don't you turn that one on? I'm like, all right, yeah, for sure. So
that's awesome.
That's kind of cool that I'm now able to be a guest. Yeah. So I appreciate that.
I'm so glad you're on.
Yeah, for sure. So just a little bit about me, I guess. I'm a financial advisor. I work out of an office here in Tacoma, just about 30 minutes south of Seattle. Not sure where all your guests are located.
All over. I got people listening in LA, people listening in Seattle. I got people all the way in Norway listening. So
Norway, nice.
Yeah, I got some friends out there. So shout out to Norway.
I'm sure there's a story behind that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, basically what I do is I just help people with their money. You know, it's probably pretty boring to a lot of people, but to me, I love it. I've been doing it since 2009. So I started right as the economy was in the worst economic conditions since the 30s.
So you like a challenge, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, some people would say that's the worst time to start. I actually think that it was a really good time to start because a lot of people were starting to think about, what the heck is going on? I need to get a better grip on, on my accounts and my money and things like that. So, I mean, that's what I do. I sit down and I talk to businesses and families and individuals and just get an idea of where they're at. Some people they're just getting started with working with their money, and some people are 6 months away from retirement and they've been doing a good job at saving their whole life. And I really just meet people where they're at and learn about them, learn about their goals and objectives, and try to take the knowledge that I've learned in the business that I'm in and help them apply it to their life so that they can better achieve their goals.
Right on. So how'd you get started doing this? Like, what was it that made you decide to do it and that whole process?
Yeah. Gosh, it's always a hard question to answer.
Yeah, right.
There's so many different reasons. I think the main reason, looking back, and I don't think I necessarily realized this when I got into the business, to me is really about, like, what am I doing with my time on Earth, right? I only have a certain amount of time on Earth, and I think about when I'm in my 70s and 80s and 90s, God willing, I think about what am I going to look back on my life and think about what did I do with the time that I was here. And I just had this feeling that I just want to help people with whatever it is.
Right.
And at the time, growing up, I never imagined that I'd be, talking to people about money and investments and retirement planning and all the things that we do. But what I realized is that this allows me an opportunity to, A, be a business owner, which has always been a desire of mine, and B, it allows me to help people, and C, it allows me to do things on a day-to-day basis where I can go home and feel good about what I did.
Right.
So how I got in was really just I was working in corporate America, and I'd grown up, and I grew up in Washington, just down in Grays Harbor area, Aberdeen. I don't know if you're very familiar with that at all, but we could probably have a whole podcast on that.
Right. Nirvana. Everyone knows Nirvana. You know what I mean?
I know, right? Yeah, that's the claim to fame. Kurt Cobain and Kurt Novoselic both came from Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Both of them members of Nirvana, so that's kind of the claim to fame down there.
Right.
Although recently you're a WWE guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. So he's been a big deal down there too.
That's right.
I'm not a big WWE guy, but I definitely knew Daniel, or Brian. His real name is Brian.
Brian Danielson, right.
I'm sure that's public knowledge, but
right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there. What was the question?
We were just talking about when you got started and what made you kind of make that leap from, you were talking about you were working in corporate America and then you decided.
Yeah, so that's where I was. So basically, growing up my whole life, coming from a very economically depressed area, the goal was always, get out and go to college and go find a good job and find a secure paycheck and, take that route. And so that was always what was in my head. So that's what I did. I went up and went to school at Western and then got out and ended up working in the corporate world, working for a company in downtown Seattle. And, right around then is when the economy started to tank. And I was, 9 to 5 sitting in front of a computer, and, you had to be there exactly at 9 or 8 or whatever time it was, and you couldn't stay longer because they didn't want to pay you overtime. And,
Right.
Very regiment, your lunch break's got to be half an hour. And so that was just what I knew. And when the economy tanked, the company just had to make a decision to save some money, and they cut out a lot of people from their organization. And I'd only been there for a couple of years, and I was one of them to go. And at that moment, I realized that corporate America is not safe and secure.
Right.
It's not. Like, I'm relying on somebody else. Somebody else can dictate and does dictate my success or my, failure, I guess.
Right.
And so it really opened my eyes to realizing that the definition of safe and secure, at least in my opinion now, is by me getting out and falling on my own sword. Right? It's I got to get out there, wake up every day, and do what I do to make a living for my family. And I mean, I'm sure it's very similar, for you and for a lot of the people that you associate with, especially in acting and the arts, right? It's like,
right.
You got to get out and go to those auditions. You got to get up and go.
Exactly.
Nobody's just writing you a check because you showed up.
Right. Right.
So I had talked to a buddy. I actually met a guy who was in this business and in this industry and with this company, and I learned about it. And I'd always had an interest in, this industry, but I'd never really imagined that I would jump into it. But the more I learned about it, the more I learned about, the people that were in it and the perks to it, and also the challenges to it. I just figured, I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to try to build a practice, and I'm going to learn as I go. And that's what I did. I just jumped in and didn't quit.
Right on. And now here you are. Now we've talked a little bit about, just kind of briefly, which I want you to talk about now is why I'm bringing it up. You're kind of having some ideas about potentially, branching out and kind of diving into maybe the world of social media and the internet as a way to start to help people, which it seems like, which is why I'm glad that you're on here and why I wanted to have you on here, because that's what this whole podcast is about. It's about people, doing something, and whether it is arts or not, where you want to make a difference, and that's why you do what you do, which is why I'm glad that you're on, and that's kind of the message that I like to portray on the podcast. So now you're kind of looking into diving into that even more by branching out more, potentially on the internet and social media, and kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It's been something that I've been thinking about over the last couple of years. I'm not young by any means. I'm not old, but I'm mid-30s, so I feel like I'm right in the middle of that social media boom, right? And I feel like as I look ahead 10, 15, 20 years, I'm still going to be in this business, still going to be in this career. And I think that we're in this age of, people have to be able to look you up and find your brand.
Right, exactly.
I mean, just like you're doing, you're building a brand, right? And you're doing it by just getting out there and doing things and making yourself, I guess, opening yourself up.
Right. That's my thing. Is just like, just got to do stuff. You got to throw darts at the wall and see what sticks. And you never know what's going to be the thing that, like, kind of sets it off. And then maybe it's one thing. Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it's I do the gaming videos on my YouTube channel. Maybe it's that kind of sets the wheel in motion for me to do the things that I really want to focus on, the acting, the writing, that kind of stuff. You never know what's going to be that kind of gets you where you want to go. It's just about getting there and then taking advantage, for sure.
Totally. Yep. And that's one area. So as we're talking social media, to me, it's just, I feel like there's an opportunity that perhaps I'm not taking full advantage of. Mm-hmm. I spend a lot of time learning about different ideas and different things that maybe people should be thinking about. And the only people I'm really sharing that with are the people that come in and sit down at my desk.
Right.
Yet in every other facet of life, I mean, I do it all day long. I'm online looking at stuff, trying to learn stuff. And I mean, the information age is here, and information is so readily available.
Right.
I think that's also a risk as well. So I have to be mindful that there's a lot of information out there under any topic that is, false, fake news.
Fake news,
right?
yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to get political there.
No.
But I mean, you could find anything online that goes with what you're thinking for the most part.
Right. I literally
different.
Yeah, I literally talk about that before this interview on the podcast, where people, they love, because I'm not a big fan of social media. I do it because I have to promote my brand and that kind of thing. But if I didn't have to, I wouldn't be on it because of that reason, where we're so quick now with Twitter being 140 characters or whatever, and we just read headlines and we're like, oh, that's happening? That's real? Let me send that out. Let me retweet that. Let me post that without... Did you look at the source when it said like realnews.org, but the news was like 3 Z's? Like, obviously that's not a real place, Right. So you're exactly right. Like, it's dangerous,
Yeah. It's like the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
Anything is out there.
Yep.
And so, and you bring up a good point. Like, you have to, in your world, you have to get out there,
right,
socially, on social media. I don't necessarily have to. I could build a business and a career just fine.
Right.
Probably without it.
Right.
But I think that there's more to gain from it. And
right.
So, and I mean, when I think about it, like, it's really just about, I mean, I'm on, obviously, like LinkedIn, which is a professional website that I highly doubt, I mean, nobody's on there just browsing.
Right.
And then I think about, like, okay, a business Facebook page, or get my Instagram a little bit more centered around the things that I do for business. And, even things like webinars and just utilizing technology.
Well, because that's the thing, too, is that, you have your clients that you're working with all the time. But the thing with what you do, I imagine, is just, I mean, it's something that all of us as humans deal with, right? Finances is something that we all have to do living in the world we live in, right? So and heck, I don't know nearly as much as I wish I knew or should knew, and I'm pretty bad with money, and I wish I was better. And it's information that everyone seeks, and I kind of just, my habits have been passed down to me by my parents and that kind of thing, and it's not something that like everyone needs this information. So like, I think it's out there for the taking. You know what I mean? Where, like, what I do, there's a million people doing a million billion people do what I'm doing. There's a million podcasts. There's all these YouTube channels, all this stuff. So like, what I'm doing, you can get from anywhere. Now, what you're trying to do, I feel like that the need for that information's out there. But I think you're right. I don't know how many people have actually branched into that realm yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the things that I always say is that the things that I do for people, it is always on their list. It's always on their list.
Yeah.
It just never gets to the top. Rarely gets to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And when it does get to the top, 9 times out of 10, it's too late to do anything about it.
Uh-huh.
And so you're right. Everybody needs this stuff. And I mean, especially now, we're in such a consumer-driven economy. It's like, how easy is it to just buy something and have it on your door? I mean, Amazon out here, you could order something
20 minutes
9
later
in the morning, and it'll be delivered to your house by like noon.
Yeah.
The same day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, it's nuts. It's so easy to spend money.
And it's like and it's even branching out. Like, I'm seeing a thing where like Domino's Pizza are investing in these little drones that drive the pizza without a person. Like, that's how easy it's going to be to get a pizza now, even.
Right. Well, I guess Boeing just released a new
the freighters
that is meant to deliver like cargo. It's a cargo drone.
Crazy.
So, yeah, but so it's really hard, I guess, and you couple that. Now, that's our mentality for a lot of people, and obviously not everybody, but then you look at like the statistics around marriages and divorces.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons for divorce is money.
Mm-hmm.
And So I try to be mindful of that when I have a husband and wife in here and we're talking and really trying to get an idea of how do they manage their money and do they do it separately? Do they do it together? And I'm actually finding that more and more people are coming in, married couples that manage their finances completely differently, or they don't even, like, husband doesn't even know how much is in the wife's account, wife doesn't know how much is in the husband's account, but they got their joint accounts that they deal with, and that's how it works, and so I don't know. I think what I do, especially with building a longer-term plan for people, which is what I try to focus on initially, is just let's sit down and figure out what the heck you're trying to do. Do you want to buy a boat in a year or 5 years? Do you want to buy a house in 5 years? You got a kid that you got to put through college in 15 years? Are you really just trying to retire at age 55 or 60? Or, like, what are you trying to accomplish? Mm-hmm. And then, because typically I think people have anxiety around money because they feel like they should be doing something different with their money than they are doing, but they just don't know what that thing is. They know they should be doing something different, but they just don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And so if I can help them figure out, okay, this is what you probably should be doing. Now, whether you do it through me or somebody else, that's fine, but here's what I would suggest you do. And once they kind of see that mapped out, like let's take home ownership, for example. Let's take college, for example, because college tends to be a big one for people that have young kids.
Right.
They don't know what it's going to cost. They don't know. I mean, they know it's going to cost a lot. They just don't know how to save for it or what the right thing to do is. And we might run an analysis and say, okay, and we don't know what college is going to cost when, little Jimmy is 18 years old.
Right.
But that's in 15 years. But we know we got to start doing something. So if we can make some certain assumptions on what the cost is going to be, and then we can narrow it down to what they need to put away per month to hit that goal, then at least and say they choose to do that amount. Now when they go spend their money on the other things that maybe they feel like they shouldn't be spending their money on, at least they don't have the negative connotation to it because they've already taken care of the thing, or at least one of the things that they know they need to take care of. So they can have a little bit of relief in knowing that, well, yeah, we kind of splurged on that TV or whatever, but, we're still doing the right thing over here, and we're still funding that. So we were able to do something that we enjoy and that we like, and we're still doing the thing that we need to be doing. Because that's another thing with this business, is a lot of people don't want to talk to a financial advisor because they think they're going to sit down and the advisor is going to tell them that they're screwed. You got to save 80% of every dollar you make.
Right.
And they're going to walk out and be like, well, I'm screwed. I kind of already thought that anyway.
Yeah.
And so I really think it's important to understand that, people need to live their life. And what they enjoy doing now, we want to find a way to help them do both. And sometimes it's possible, and sometimes we just have to help them realign their goals. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're not going to pay 100% of Jimmy's college. Maybe you're going to pay 50%, but at least you're going to have some leverage there.
Yeah, that's way better off than some people who have to rely on student loans for whatever 100% of their college and stuff. So yeah,
and student loans is a big one too.
Yeah, that's my world.
Right. Well, in my world too.
That's what I'm drowning in.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
But
yeah,
student loans is a big one, and the thing I see with student loans, and I would say the same thing with any loan, but it tends to be student loan is the big one. Is some people have $20,000 in student loan. I've talked to people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans, and so they kind of think, well, okay, once I'm done with the student loan, then I'll really start, then I'll really jump into it and I'll really start saving. I'll start doing what I need to do once that student loan is done. Mm-hmm. And I definitely see that being a rational thought, but I try and help people understand that, your student loan is a debt, but, your future retirement is also a debt.
Uh-huh.
What are you doing to pay that debt?
Huh.
Right?
That's a good way to think about it.
A lot of, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's a debt. Your retirement is a debt. It's a big debt.
Uh-huh.
And then with our and I don't even know how old you are. I'm assuming you're like a decade younger than me, but I got no clue.
I'm 26.
But 26? Yeah, you're exactly a decade younger.
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
In May 7th.
Okay, so I'm July. So
We're pretty close. All right.
Anyway, yeah, a decade and 3 months.
Yeah.
2 months. Anyway, so I don't remember what my point was on that.
We're talking about student loans and then retirement as debt, and even at my age, you started to say. Yeah.
I don't even remember.
It's gone.
It's gone. I told you on this call. I said I'm going to be in the moment. So
Yeah.
as soon as that moment passes,
Right. No, but no, because you were talking about, you brought that up because I think a lot of people who might be listening, and me included, that's kind of my main financial thing is dealing with my student loans, and I have a ton, and hitting those payments is fine, but it is becoming, or it's like, that's kind of how I, like, any money I would be saving goes towards that.
right.
And then starting to think about it as that way of like, well, thinking about like, because I've kind of had that mentality. I was like, man, if I could just get these student loans taken care of, then my life will be better and everything will be, changed. But, it is interesting to think of but there's more to it after that as well.
Right. Well, and I just now remembered what I was going to say is Social Security for people our age and your age.
Yeah.
We don't know what that's going to look like.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people just don't even count on it.
Yep.
And my opinion doesn't necessarily hold any water because I have no idea what's going to happen to it either. But I do know that when we do long-term planning, we're being very conservative on our estimate of what Social Security is going to look like. But yeah. So and to your other point, as soon as your student loan is done, then things will look different. That's the same. That's the same conversation with people of all ages. There's always this one thing that once they're done with that, then it's going to be different.
Right.
I mean, you can put it in context of a car. If you got a car loan and you got one more year left on your car loan, it's $500 a month or whatever. Once you're thinking, okay, well, once that $500 is paid off in the car, well, then I got $500 extra every month to go save and do the right thing with it. But what ends up happening is your car gets paid off, and you're like, man, I got $500 extra bucks.
Yeah.
I got all kinds of money. I could go.
You get season tickets.
I get season tickets to the.
Yeah.
To the, where are you at? Season tickets to the Niners?
No,
that probably cost you $500 a year, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right now I don't know. No, but it's like because I'm in LA, so it's like tickets to the Rams and stuff. Like just per game is like $100. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Clippers. That's the cheapest thing in town. The LA Clippers.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know you got a lot of different teams down there.
There's so much. Yeah, there's so much, and it's like I went to my first NHL game not too long ago. And I'm really excited now that Seattle might get an NHL team because it was awesome. I mean, I always went to the Seattle Thunderbirds games when I was home, but the NHL game is just so different. It's so much better. And the entire time I was there, I was just thinking like, man, Seattle will love this just because we're crazy fans. And it was so cool. But I haven't been to a basketball game since I've been here just because I'm still sour that the Sonics are gone.
I know.
And I even when I lived in New York for a few months, I had the opportunity to go to Madison Square Garden for next game, and I was like, I can't do it. I don't know why. I couldn't do it.
Is it out of principle?
Yeah.
It's like I just don't want to support the NBA right now?
Yeah, I was too sad. And I just don't care. Like I was like, oh, do you want to go to a Knicks versus the Bucks game? I'm like, no, I have zero interest in those teams,
Right.
And that's why it's hard for me to like adopt a basketball team because I just want the Sonics back.
It's so funny. I know. I wouldn't even say that I was like a hardcore Sonics fan when they were here. Like, yeah, I'd go to the games.
Right.
Fun. But I wasn't like, I mean, I guess maybe back when I was younger in the Peyton Kemp era.
Right, 96 finals, that time.
Yeah, so you know the dates. I don't
of course.
I just know it was, 79 when they won the championship?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But yeah, even now, like, I don't even watch basketball.
I know, I can't. It's hard for me to watch.
March Madness.
Right, March Madness, of course.
Yeah. But I don't watch the NBA. In fact, it's crazy how little I know about the NBA at this point.
Right, I like LeBron James. That's about it.
Yep. Like Steph Curry.
Yep.
I like Steph.
I like Steph Curry. I like greatness.
Just because I remember watching him when he played for Davidson.
Yeah, and that March Madness.
And I remember thinking, man, this guy is amazing.
Yeah. And
there was very few, like, I'm not a big college basketball fan either. I mean, I went to Western. Wasn't like I went to UW or Wazoo.
Yeah.
So Western didn't have, like, a ton of sports fanatics there. It wasn't like we had, 500 people showing up to any game there, just getting crazy and painting their faces like they do at Gonzaga and things like that. But, yes, I don't really have a team necessarily, and there wasn't very many college players that I would, like, gravitate towards.
Right.
But I just remember seeing Steph Curry, and I was like, this guy is incredible to watch.
He was good. I remember my first year of college, I lived in Vegas. I went to UNLV my first year of college. And, they're pretty notorious for having a good basketball team, except not when I was there. I mean, we did make the tournament, but we, like, got upset in the first game.
Okay.
And it was like watching it in the dining hall with all the students, and, like, someone hit, like, a buzzer beater 3 from, like, half court to beat us, and, like, everything just went silent. It was crazy. Yeah, and then they haven't been good for a few years, but
yeah, it must have been the same feeling we had when the Seahawks decided to pass on the 1 yard.
Oh yeah, we don't talk about that.
I know, sorry, I know it's been so long, but it's still painful.
But the thing is, like, I'm in the camp that, like, yeah, that sucks, but, like, let's start to get over it as a group. I feel like it's like people just keep bringing it up, and we just fired our coaches and stuff, and everyone's all happy about it. But, like, he wasn't that bad, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just like it's the resentment for that, and I don't even think he made that call. I think it was Pete Carroll. But regardless, let's just move on. I want to move on as people and forget, Yeah.
But
I don't think we're going to be able to until we win again. Just like our first Super Bowl loss, I was like, I'm never going to get over this. And then we won the Super Bowl, and I don't even care about that anymore.
Right.
Now I care about the other one, but
right.
It's kind of
and if he would have caught it, if it would have been a touchdown, we'd
genius.
We would have said it was a genius call.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everybody thought we were running it, and we threw it.
Hindsight. Brilliant. Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, before I let you go, I know you don't got too much more time here. I know for what you do, it's, it is case by case basis, and you have your clients that you talk to, and everything's different circumstances, kind of like we talked about, whether you have loans or whether, you're saving for your child's college or whatever. But let's just say if you have any, for anyone who might be listening, just because I know a lot of people who might be listening are people that I know my age who are in the arts, and maybe, it's being a starving artist it can be tough. Do you have any, like, just basic tips for a starving artist to kind of see them through if they are living paycheck to paycheck or whatever, just to kind of swim a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, so a couple things that I would say, especially to somebody in their 20s, is you're going to hear over and over that, like, you got to start now, you got to start now, you got to start now. And while I agree with that, I think there's something to be said about, chase your dreams.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're in your 20s. Chase your dreams, go after it. Like, be okay with the grind and the hustle, and don't worry. And maybe this is a weird thing for a financial advisor to say, but don't worry about it right now. If you can do something, then, then open up a separate savings account and start cycling in, $50 a month just for a little while. Because it's really good to, if you have an ability to get, a 2-month, 3-month cushion built up, that's really good to be able to have that, especially in your guys' profession when you don't know when your money's coming in.
Right.
Got to have a little bit of a cushion to be able to float for 2 months, 3 months. So that's a important aspect. And if you can, then do it. And then once you start doing $50 a month, then, a year later, you bump it up to 100. And then eventually, when you get your feet on the ground or you figure out, you're getting more steady income, then you can start attacking a little bit more heavily. But I'm a big proponent of, you only live once. And if you're not chasing your dream, definitely don't give up on your dream because retirement is 35, 40 years down the road.
Right.
But, I have a client I told you this when we talked last time, I have a client that's an actress, and they're doing the same thing, just opened up an account, and they're just shoving some money away, and they're just getting something going. And the good part about that is that it's her and her husband. They're learning a little bit about the investment world. They're not focused on it. They're not focused on this stuff. They're focused on chasing their dream. But once every 6 months or so, or once a quarter, whenever they want to talk, we just connect on the phone. I'll educate them more on what they have and what they're doing and why they're doing it. And we'll talk about what might be the next step. But over time, they're learning about what they have, as opposed to if they did nothing and they try to learn, they go online and they're trying to figure stuff out. You're going to get 1,000 different ideas and 1,000 different things that you should always do or you should never do. And there's always people that have opinions floating around, and you can get really lost in it. But you just start one thing. Just start saving $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever your number is, and just get used to doing that and try not to touch it, and just get used to that money getting out of your hands. And I would say it's really important to do it in a separate account. Go open up an account with a different bank. Don't have a debit card attached to it. Make it a little bit harder to tap into that money. So you have to think about it a little bit.
Right. You got to really go for it if you need.
Right. You can't just log on and move it from one account to another.
Right.
Like while you're in line at, the grocery store.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, so the other thing I would say is, if you care to learn a lot about it, some people just want help and they just want somebody, they just want an advisor to help them. They don't care to know everything about mutual funds and which stocks to pick and all the stuff that I spend my days with. I would just say find somebody that works in this business or that spends time learning about this stuff and just pick their brain. It's kind of like fitness. I know you've been doing the DDP thing, or I don't know if you fell off on that.
Yeah, I gotta get back on it.
Okay. I won't berate you for that.
Yeah, no worries. It's a new year. Time to get it back going.
Yeah, it's like fitness. It's like I could probably learn all about macros and how much percentage of protein versus carbs, and obviously anybody listening that knows anything about fitness knows that I know nothing about fitness, just based on that last sentence. But I could probably learn all that stuff. But am I really going to take the time to go figure all that stuff out? Probably not. Maybe not right now. But what I need to do is just get up and get active and just start doing something, whether it's 100 push-ups every night or going for a run or a walk. I just got to start somewhere, and then eventually my knowledge will grow from it, and then I'll start learning a little bit more about right foods. And I can't learn everything in a week.
Yeah.
And then just because I know it and I'm good, So I would partner. I would find somebody that's really involved in fitness and that's their life, and I would pick their brain.
All right. Kind of that overarching idea is something that keeps popping up on my podcasts and stuff is just do it. Whatever it is, just you got to do it. Whether it's you want to, it is in the arts or something like that. Like you want to do something, or you want to get somewhere. Like just start doing stuff. Like I do this podcast, and I don't know, there might be 3 people listening, but that's not the end goal for me and why I do it. I'm doing it because it's helping me grow and it is helping me learn. And I think that goes with anything, especially with your tip there for just trying to if saving money is something you want to do, like just start doing it, try and see what you can do. I think it's great advice.
Right. And you look at anybody that's ever been successful in anything, and you ask them how they became successful, the first thing they're going to tell you is about their failures and
right.
times that they fell on their face.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important, especially in my business and probably in a lot of yours as well. I mean, how many times do you go in for a audition and you get turned down?
Right. 99 out of 100 times.
Right.
If I'm
exactly.
lucky. If I'm lucky.
Right. But you got to just keep getting up and going and doing it.
That's right.
Because 50 people out of 100 that just went into that audition, they're going to give up.
Right.
Because they got told no, and it was hard, and they failed. And I have this quote written on my whiteboard in my office, and it's, you only fail if you quit. Oh. That's a good one. I love that because you're totally right. It's like, who cares if there's 3 listeners right now? Next week there could be 13, and
right
after there'll be 50, and
exactly,
so on and so forth.
And one of my teachers used to say, one of my teachers had a good quote too, from a playwright, and he would say, "Fail again, fail better." So it's like every time you fail, you're growing, and you don't grow unless you do that.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned growth because as I thought about this, I'm like, okay, I'll do Tony's podcast. I have no idea if it's even, anybody even cares to hear from a financial advisor, but we talked about me getting out there. I want to get out there more, social media, or just kind of get out there more. And this is kind of one of those steps for me. Yeah. It's kind of, I too would love to get into the podcasting world. But there's something said about getting uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable.
You got to live there. You got to live in that. Yeah. And there's something that something you said earlier that I've wanted to comment on. I forgot it, and now I remembered. You talked about embracing the grind. You said something like that, and just like when I think, like especially in your 20s, like going after your dreams, and like living in that, and like just embrace that and deal with that. And I think that's so important. And there's a guy that I follow on Instagram. He's an entrepreneur. His name's Gary V. I don't know if you know who he is.
Oh yeah, I listen to Gary V all the time.
He's so amazing, and that's what he talks about. Like not enough people. Like people are so focused on the end game, and they want to get to the end that they don't enjoy the journey and the grind they have to get through to get that. But the grind, the 99% of the work to get to that final 1% is what it's all about, and that's what should be enjoyed. And right. And it's doing the stuff to get there that should be the fun part and stuff that you love, because if you don't, you're never going to make it. And I think that goes to like what I'm doing here. Like again, I put a lot of work and stuff into doing this for maybe not a lot of response at the beginning, but I'm enjoying what I do, and I enjoy the work and the grind that I'm on to even do it, because end of the day I'm having fun doing it, and that's what's most important for me.
Right. Exactly. And I see that in what you're doing too. I see my daughter watching YouTube. She watches people playing Roblox or whatever it is. She's 7. Right. She'll be on YouTube watching, I don't know, crazy people playing video games. And I remember thinking, why are you watching somebody play a video game? I just couldn't fathom that. Right?
It's crazy.
Shouldn't you want to play the game as opposed to watching somebody play the game? And then then I find myself hanging out with her and she's watching it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool, what's he doing here?
Yeah. Right. I showed her
yours, I'm like, hey Mace, this is your cousin.
Yeah.
He just thought it was amazing that her cousin was a YouTuber.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I know you got
a 7-year-old fan.
Yes. Hey, that's what I try to do too. That's why I make sure that my stuff is I know that 7-year-olds might be watching, so I make sure that it's okay for 7-year-olds, or at least I try to. And I know you got to get out of here. I'm gonna hit you with one last question. This is the last question I ask all my guests.
Okay.
And we've kind of already touched on it, and you've already kind of talked about it, but just as kind of before we go, the last question I always ask is, there might be someone out there who's listening to this who has a dream, whether it is the arts or, that's why I'm glad you're on, because you're outside of the arts. Maybe it's someone who wants to be a financial advisor, or someone who wants to be a doctor or a veterinarian, whatever it is. There might be someone who's listening who has a dream and they want to do something and they have a passion for it, but they think, nah, I couldn't do that. Right. Not that's cool. I'd love to do that, but not me. I'm not good enough, or I could never do that. What's your advice to that person?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I think my advice would be to be your biggest fan. Like, nobody's going to believe in you if you don't believe in you.
Right. Whew, that's huge.
Right? And I think the same thing that you just said. Like, understand that the journey is what it's about. It's not about getting to the end. I think comparison, people compare where they're at to where somebody else is at, and think, well, I can't get there because, man, they're doing so well. Like, look at Gary Vee's podcast compared to yours right now. Right. Like, why, if he can do it, you can do it.
That's right.
I think everybody is capable of anything, and this is something that I really want to instill in my daughter, that no person should ever be able to stop you from doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And early on, there's probably a lot of fear and judgment from other people. What's that quote? It's attributed to Dr. Seuss, but I think somebody else said it. Those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter.
Right.
I think so. I guess to answer your question, my advice would be, just don't stop doing what you want to do. Create a vision for what you want, and stick to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not much of a motivational speaker.
No, that's absolutely right. Be your biggest fan. I love that you said that, because that's exactly right. Someone else said something like that too, and that really stuck with me. It's like, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is gonna, right? And if I'm trying to get people to follow my brand or believe in what I'm doing, but if I don't believe in it, I have no shot. So that's awesome.
And the people that don't believe in it shouldn't be, or the people that aren't supporting you or helping you shouldn't be involved anyway.
Right. Those aren't the people I make my stuff for. If you don't like my stuff, you're not who I make it for. I make it for the people who do enjoy it. I make it for me, and I make it for the people who do enjoy it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, I enjoy it.
I appreciate it, man. I can't tell you, that makes me feel so good that you listen to it, and that, your wife was into it as well. It makes me so happy. I'm so glad that you're on. It was great to talk to you, talk about some finance stuff, but we just got real for a bit, and it was great. And thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I hope you don't lose a bunch of listeners.
Oh, no, this was great. And I'm going to put some links in the description of where, maybe people can hit you up if they have any questions about anything. And if you're going to, because you're trying to branch out to social media and stuff like that. So like LinkedIn or whatever, I'm going to have all the links that you can follow Ryan in the description, so you can check him out if you have any questions. Great guy to ask. So thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tony.
Oh, you didn't know?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us this week on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast with Tony Reavis. That's me, episode 15 in the books. Another quick shout out to Mr. Ryan Ainsworth, my cousin there, financial advisor, good man. We talked a lot about some finance stuff, but we just got real. and we just talked about life. And there's a lot of moments in that conversation that really hit me and struck me. I was like, man, that is great advice and just great valuable information. So I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. Hope you guys got some good finance tips maybe, but I hope you just enjoyed the conversation in general. So again, shout out to you. Thank you so much for coming on, and hey, thanks for listening every week. You and Tracy, I appreciate it. But that's gonna do it for me. Get ready. We'll come back next week. We're gonna come back. We're doing it. 2018. We're going hard. We're grinding. We're putting in the work. I'm gonna have another awesome guest next week. It's not going to be The Rock. There, joke. Again, put it in every week. But it's going to be an awesome guest. I'm really looking forward to it. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff at iamTonyReavis. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/iamTonyReavis. That's where you can find this podcast. You can also find my hilarious gaming videos. I'm bringing them back full swing. I'm feeling really good about them. I'm having a lot of fun making them. So make sure you guys check those out. They're a blast. If you like video games and you like comedy and all that stuff, I promise you they're funny. So go ahead and check those out. And if you're listening on SoundCloud or on iTunes, you can still follow me and subscribe on there so you get up to date when all the new episodes come out. So make sure you do that. You don't want to miss it because we're coming back. My mom is still a little under the weather, so I don't want to bug her. I'm sure she could have done the podcast if I asked, but I want her to feel better before we get her on. So she will be back. Don't worry. I know there's a lot of people who are like, hey, what the heck? I listened to this whole podcast and your mom wasn't even in at the end. So why did I even listen? So she'll be back. I know her fans will be happy to hear that. I can't wait to have her back on. So Mom, I love you. Feel better. But that'll do it. So until next time, hope you guys have a good week. Hope you're out there killing it. 2018, let's make it our year. Each and every one of us. Thank you so much, guys. I love you. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week. And if you don't know, now you know. I am Tony Reavis. I'm out.